everyone. Happy Wednesday. You know what that means, right? This girl is here and ready to chat with all of you. It's been a crazy day. It was snowing. We woke up to like 2 or 3 inches, had a 2 hour delay, and then it rained all day, so all the snow is gone, and luckily it's not turning into ice quite yet. So, but that's Indiana for you, right? Anyways. It is Wednesday, which means it is time for another episode of Adventures of Comprehension. I'm super excited you're here. I have a lot to talk with you about tonight, and I think you're going to absolutely love the strategy that we're going to be talking about. Hey, Laura. So definitely make sure you hop on, stay put, because I have a really awesome freebie for you that you are going to want to grab, and then we're going to be talking all about the strategy, and we're going to talking about the freebie that you can download and really going through that and walking through that. So as you already are doing, hi, Lynn, I'm feeling so much better. You are so sweet. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm feeling better. I am from Indianapolis, Indiana, in the Indianapolis area. Somebody asked the question if you're wondering why in the world I just said that. Anyways, my name is Sierra Harris. I am the author of Adventures of Room 129. Clearly, that you're here. You know that. And every Wednesday, I go live to talk to you about comprehension. And I'm really excited about tonight's topic because it's one that I wholeheartedly believe in, and I think it really can make or break some of your students who maybe struggle, especially with standardized testing, but also just normal comprehension questions as well. It applies to both, of course. So if you haven't already done so, drop me a comment, say hi, what grade you teach, where you're from, what's the weather like where you live, how many days till spring break do you have, whatever you want to tell me. I can't wait to hear from you. Just so you know, if you leave a comment or a question, I don't see those as we're live, so I will go back and reply to all of them. So already my comment roll has stopped and I can't see anymore. So I see that Shannon, Amanda, Hope is here, Laura's here. I'm so excited you all have popped on, and you're gonna love it. I know you will. Let's get started. So tonight's Adventures in Comprehension topic is a strategy that I call Decipher the Question. And this is a strategy that like I said, I keep it near and dear to my heart because I really believe this can make or break a student's ability to be able to better answer comprehension questions, okay? So this can apply to all the way down in first grade. This can apply all the way up into middle school grades. It's just the tactic of, whatever you're teaching, you're just gonna apply it to that. So I have prepared for you a guidebook that's going to walk you through everything we're talking about tonight and all the materials that you need to get started using the strategy. So if you go over to the side, you can find the link. I believe it's bit.ly/deciphering129. If don't quote me on that. Go find the link just to make sure. And you can get this straight to your email. It will send it right to you. And we're going to walk through it tonight, and we're going to talk about the strategy. So you're probably thinking, okay, Sierra, what is the strategy? What does decipher the question mean? So I want you to try and put yourself into a student's shoes. It doesn't have to be a smart student, a below average, doesn't matter. A student, right? And I want you to try to think about the experience that they are having throughout the entire year of whatever grade you teach, specifically in reading, right? So from August until May, you're filling their brain with all these file folders of information, of strategies and skills that they all need to use to be able to comprehend what they're reading, right? You teach main idea, then you teach cause and effect, and then you teach making inferences, and then sequencing, and we teach them in isolation, which is good. We need to do that. But what that's doing is putting all this information into file folders, right, in their brains. That's my metaphor, I guess, that I'm going to use. So when your students are going to, take a comprehension test, right? Typically, when we give them comprehension tests, we're testing them over the skill or strategy that we taught that week, right? So they're going to use the strategy that they learned that week. So I just did a whole week or 2 weeks, whatever, of a main idea unit. So now I'm going to take an assessment, and I know they're fresh in my mind. I've got my file folder, so I remember all the things my teacher taught me because it's all there. It's fresh in my mind, right? I know to go look at the headings. I know to look for repeated words. I know to read the first 2 sentences and see if the main idea lingers around there somewhere, right? I have all those strategies fresh in my brain. But what happens when we give them an assessment, aka, hello, a standardized test, and all of those skills are all jumbled up, right? So they've got question after question after question, and it could go from main idea to sequencing to here, make an inference. Here, what's a multiple meaning word? Here, use your context clues, right? Students have problems, or students struggle with being able, I'm like using my hands a lot, sorry. They struggle with being able to go back through and figure out, what am I supposed to be doing here? And so what they do is they jump right into just answering the question, right? So I'm going to read this question. Yeah, I may go back to the text, and then I'm just going to answer it. But what they're not doing is they're not going back into those file folders that we've created for them, oh so nice and neatly, through all the months and the years of teaching that we've done for them, and they're not accessing the actual strategies that we've given them, right? They're not thinking about the anchor charts that we made, and they're not thinking about, when I do context clues, I read before, during, and after. That's a strategy I use. So they're not thinking through, they're just answering the question, right? You've seen your kids do this. Give me some hearts if you know your kids just jump in and answer. So what Decipher the Question does is it gives students the tools to be able to do just that, decipher the question. So it gives them a step of thinking that they need to do before they are allowed to answer the question. So why is this important? And again, if you have not downloaded already, you're going to want to go and grab this, because some of the things that I'm talking about are going to be in there. So why is this important? We've already said students have way too much information and they don't really know where to start, so they just jump in and answer. Using this strategy, and we're going to talk about how we use it in just a second, but using this strategy helps students to be able to analyze questions at a much deeper level. It also helps the students focus on the strategy. So if it's a main idea question, and here's the thing, it doesn't always say what is the main idea, right? It's going to use all these other crazy terms, and it wants them to really understand what that it's asking for. Main idea, central topic, central whatever, the main point, or you know how they like to trick them, right? Oh, why do they do that to us? Why do they do that to them? So we have to teach them all of those key words that relate all back to main idea and all back to context clues, etc. So it helps using this decipher the question strategy. It helps them focus on what strategy I'm actually going to use to answer this question, rather than just jumping in and answering it. And then this is kind of like a perk that I noticed throughout doing this with my students. If this is an open-ended question, I found that a lot of my students' open-ended answers are so much more in depth because they know what strategy. Because they knew it was a main idea strategy, their explanation mirrored that, and they were able to tell me more. So there's so many benefits to this, and I'm telling you, the kids' light bulbs just click and go off, and they breeze through these questions a lot more because they understand to stop and think, oh, this is author's purpose. Okay, I remember pie, got it. All right, now I can go through and answer the question rather than just jumping in and start looking through the text and writing, or whatever they do. So in your guidebook, I have given you all the things that you need to be able to start this strategy. And you really don't need anything fancy. And I'm telling you, there's nothing really fancy in here. However, I wanted to give you some tools that you might need to get started. And this is ready to go, and you could do this lesson tomorrow if you really wanted to. So in your guidebook, I have given you all the why it's important, all of that stuff that we just talked about, and kind of a blurb of like what this is, right? Then the second page just kind of has a breakdown of everything that you're getting in the guidebook. So just some more information. And then you have here a detailed lesson plan. So I have completely step-by-step broken down how you're going to introduce the strategy to your students. So the basic gist of the lesson is this. I'm going to put these down and I'm going to walk you through the lesson. So you are going to give each student, or if you want to do this just like under the document camera and you're the only one with a copy and you bring them all to like the carpet and get them all close or whatever, or if you want to give everyone a copy, it doesn't matter. You can do it either way. But in the resource, you are getting a story. It does look long, but that's okay. The comprehension level is low, but that's not the point, right? The point is the questions. So it's called Emmett's Special Day. My son, his name is Emmett, so I had to put him in the story. And then also our 10 comprehension questions, okay? So in the lesson, what you're doing is you are going to walk them through looking at each question, and you're going to highlight with them the key words that relate back to the strategy that they are then going to use to answer the question, okay? I'm also giving you, and you can easily give this to the students too if you wanted to, I'm also giving you a keyword guide that goes along with all the different strategies. Now, I know there are more skills and I know there are more strategies than the 10 that I put on here. I get it. But it would be super easy for you to continue this and create more. But I gave you the 10 that I think are the most important, that have tons of different keywords that potentially could show up in a question. Okay, so you would have this displayed, and I gave you a colored version as well. So you can use this and you can like print and make it a poster size and make a big like blown up poster to put in your room if you wanted to. But there's a black and white version, of course, to make it ink friendly. So you are going to walk through each question with your students. You're going to find the keyword, and again, have them look here if they need to. So in this first question, it says, what is the conflict that made Emmett run into his room crying? Conflict. That word right there. What does that tell me? That's problem and solution. So you're going to highlight the word, have them write problem and solution up at the top, have them like pause and reflect and think, what is problem and solution? What do I know about it? How do I use that strategy? Or what strategies did my teacher teach me when doing problem and solution, etc. You're going to kind of walk them through that reflective process. And then have them go back to the text, just your normal, underline evidence, whatever, answer the question, that kind of stuff. And you're going to repeat that. So the most important thing in the lesson, and again, it's all detailed in the lesson plan, is you're going to go through and have them find these key words. Okay? But don't worry, I've given you an answer key. It's in there as well. But like I said, they're going to have your students use the keyword guide. You can use the keyword guide that is there for you. And you can easily shrink this down too and have them paste it into their reader's notebooks if you wanted to as well. Okay? So this is the main part of the lesson. Like I said, it's nothing spectacular. But this right here is what your standardized tests kind of look like, right? They're not all open-ended, I get that, but this applies to multiple choice as well. I did all open-ended because I wanted you to see the more rich answers that your students can provide because they know the strategies. So look for that as well as you're doing this. So, but anyways, you're going to just go through each of these questions, find those keywords, decipher the question, figure out what strategy or skill you're using, identify that, reflect, and move on to the next question. So like I said, all of this is provided in there along with your detailed lesson plan, okay? And then your keyword guide is there for you. And if you have any problems printing this to poster size, just let me know. It's super, super easy to do. But if you want help with that, I can help. And I do have an answer key as well. And then the other things that I have in here for you, sorry, I'm like losing my papers. The other thing that I provided in here that goes along with the lesson itself is this foldable, okay? And so as you're going through each question and you're having them figure out what the keyword is, what's the strategy, etc., you are going to have them fill in their foldable. So I'm sorry, I'm looking for problem and solution. So for that first question, you will have them decorate the top or the front and with problem and solution. I literally just did this with marker. Just get out a crayon, have them write problem and solution on the top. Like I did nothing crazy to this. And then on the inside, you're going to have them write down the keywords to problem and solution. So again, this is where that keyword guide would come into play. So the first one they would write with conflict because that was the word in the passage. And then you would go through the other keywords that are on that poster, the keyword guide that I gave you, and have them write those in here. So this can also be glued into a reader's notebook or easily go into like a reading folder or whatever when you're done. So again, it's something to help them interact with the lesson, and they're going to be writing the keywords down for all of those 10 skills and strategies that you are going through the story. So they're doing this while you're doing the story. If you want to separate them and do the story for one lesson and then do this for a second lesson, that's perfectly fine too. You can make it however you want, but I wanted to give you some materials that way you can run and do this too. And then the last thing in your resource and I didn't cut these out, so sorry, #lazy. But I gave you some task cards. So this is a mini set, and by mini, I mean it's not a full class set, but you could easily still do an around the room or a floor hunt or put these in a center. There are, I think, 12 cards, and basically what they're doing is just giving them a question. There's no story to go along with this, but it's giving them a question and just asking them in multiple choice, what strategy would this be? So for the first one, it says, which skill or strategy is being asked below? And then here's the question. What is the reason why the author wrote the story? Point of view, main idea, author's purpose, problem, solution. So they would write them on their recording sheet, the letter of the skill or strategy that then matches. If you want to laminate these, that'd be great because then you could have them even like underline the keywords or circle the keywords. That way they can kind of get their hands on there. And they go through all 12 and sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. The keywords that are used in the text, in the story that I gave you, are different than the keywords that are on here. So they're being exposed to more keywords, not just the same ones over and over. So for like problem and solution, I did not use the word conflict. I used something else. So these are in there as well. So it is an awesome freebie. So I really hope that you enter your email and grab that real quick. Don't worry, if you're already on my email list, you're not like going to be getting double emails from me, I promise. You only are in there once. But definitely go and grab that. I really do believe this strategy can truly make or break those students who just don't know where to begin. They feel so overwhelmed. They have so much information crammed into their little brains. And we have to remember that as teachers, we know those file folders and we know how to access them instantly. And then when we go to teach, we teach very, in segments. But when we give them these assessments, they're not segmented. And so how are we teaching our students to be able to go through and find those segments to be able to best answer these questions? So a little piece of advice, if you love this strategy, which I hope you do, is to try to embed this multiple times throughout the year, okay? I teach this maybe a few months into the year, then I come back to it at least once a month and just do like a refresher lesson to really make sure my students understand the strategy, to make sure it's fresh in their mind. And that way when we get to standardized testing time, this is not another strategy that I'm trying to cram down their brains. The other thing that I want to make sure that I say to you is when you're giving comprehension tests, I want you to really think about how you're designing these tests. Now, I know if you are using a basal reader and you're forced to use a certain type of assessment, you may not have control over that. However, if you're making your own or if you're getting them off of TPT, make sure you're really analyzing those tests before you give them. Because if you're teaching main idea and you want to give a main idea assessment, that's great, but that's technically not a comprehension assessment. You want to make sure at least once every 3 to 4 weeks that you are giving your students an assessment, kind of like the one about Emmett that I just showed you in the resource, where it's a good mixture of questions, because that is going to really show you where your students are with different skills and strategies, okay? So again, every 3 to 4 weeks, I pull out a good on-level assessment. I give it to them. I make sure it has a wide variety of skills and strategies. And that way I have some good, strong data. It allows my students practice to decipher the question. All those pieces really come together. And it's a great snapshot rather than these, very segmented assessments that I'm giving my students. Those are needed too. I get that. But we have to make sure that's not all we're doing. So again, I hope you absolutely love this guidebook. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. You can reply straight to that email. Let me know how much you love this. Let me know if you have any questions. If you do the lessons, I'd love to hear about them. I'd love to see them. You can always tag me on Instagram at Adventures of Room 129. This also goes really well with a lot of my building comprehension units. So I did put the link over to the side for those, so you can grab them. Remember, the bundle is on sale, 40% off while it's growing. After that, it will not be on sale anymore. So you're going to want to grab it in the next few months before the price really jumps, because it's going to jump a lot. And then I put the link to my Facebook group over there because we're growing rapidly every day, and I would absolutely love to have you if you're not already there. So that's my spiel for the night. I hope you enjoyed learning about Decipher the Question. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to spend some time going through all of those comments and replying to all of you. I really appreciate you spending your Wednesday night with me. I love having you all here. And, of course, next week, Wednesday, guess where I'll be? Right here at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to be notified that I go live, right now there are those 3 little dots somewhere up in the top right or left-hand corner of your screen. If you click those, there should be a drop-down menu, and it says get notifications for live videos. That way you don't ever have to worry about missing. You'll get a notification straight to your phone. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I had a blast speaking with you, and I can't wait to go read all of your questions and comments right now. So I will talk to you all soon. Bye.